Indigestion. Aside from normal family affection, children generally had a low status in the ancient world. Their worth was in their potential as future adults, but not for their presence in the here and now. As we have already heard, Jesus' disciples were struggling to digest his teaching on service and servanthood, and it was a small child that Jesus then used as an icon to help them. Reflecting on this story many years ago, a rather ponderous member of my previous church commented that, in his opinion, children these days were being treated like demigods, idolised and indulged in a way in which he believed was very unhealthy. The pendulum had swung far too far in the other direction. Now, I used the word icon before, and an icon is neither an idol nor a demigod. The disciples, intent on working out a power structure, establishing a pecking order amongst themselves, needed to be jolted out of their muddled mindsets, and Jesus provided them with an iconic illustration. Now, the word icon may conjure up a couple of images in your head. Perhaps you picture the kind of stylized, ornate religious painting that is often found in Eastern churches. These icons are carefully painted in a highly symbolic way. Now, they're not meant to be realistic. They are an aid to meditation, a window to understanding the things of God. And reflecting on the concept of icons, Madeleine L'Engle wrote, "An icon for me is an open window to God. An icon is anything I can look through and get a wider glimpse of God than I would otherwise." Hold that thought. The other place that we tend to find icons is far more commonplace on our screens, like these small images that you can see here on my phone. Clicking on them leads me straight away to something far behind the icon. Here we go. Facebook, a whole new world, and a message from my mum, a message from a friend, something from Messy Church, a plea from Christian Aid, and, oh look, a message from Lynn Corley, a former member at St Andrews. It's all there, and we can just access it through these tiny icons on our screens. An icon is a window to something greater. Now, in his book, The Awesome Journey, David Adam reminds us that every human being has the ability to be an icon of God, because every single person we meet has been created in the image of God. And the fact that we can begin to glimpse the mystery of God within ourselves and within others, he says, should fill us with awe. This is what he says. If you believe that each of us is an icon, an image of God, it follows that we have access to God through each other. Every human being has the potential to draw others into a more profound awareness of God's presence. Go back to those icons on your screens. If you click on one of those little images, you gain access to sights you could not see before. It's not too much of a stretch to the imagination to perceive that if we give our undivided attention to another human being, we can be led to greater depths. And so, Jesus took a child, an insignificant person whom his disciples had overlooked, and he used her as an icon. Utterly present in the moment, utterly unconcerned about tomorrow, about status and hierarchy, as Tom Wright puts it in his commentary. Oh yes, he goes on to say, children can also be walking examples of original sin. Let's not romanticize, but don't forget that this is an ironic and an iconic lesson. You want to know about being first? Jesus asked. Well, here is your icon. Be last. Be servant of all. The disciples wanted to know what greatness in God's kingdom would be like for them. And in ironically presenting them with someone of low status, Jesus gave them an icon of uncomplicated humility. And then, cradling the child, he said, whoever embraces one of these children as I do, embraces me. And far more than me, God who sent me. Embrace the child and you embrace the Christ. Just stop and think about that. This is a holy mystery that we must not rush past. Behind this icon, behind this small, flawed person, lies the image of God, and we can love and learn from that icon. If you want to know how God's powerful presence comes most easily into the world, said Tom Wright, go and welcome a child in Jesus' name. Here is, as it were, the hotline into the powerful presence of God. Let me just repeat those mind-blowing words of David Adam once again. If you believe that each of us is an icon, an image of God, it follows that we have access to God through one another. Every human being has the potential to draw others into a more profound awareness of God's presence. Mahatma Gandhi, father of the Indian nation, said, if you do not find God in the next person you meet, then it is a waste of time looking for him further. And so, here is our uncomfortable challenge. Who are the least of these, the iconic children within our fellowship? Who are the least likely people that we might feel is a window into God's presence for us? And do we believe that we can see something of God in everyone we meet?